Good evening. Let's do our Heidi duty. This video is intended for caregivers of veterans who may have no experience unloading weapons. So gun safety is our discussion this evening, not marksmanship. So don't be nervous. If you follow the rules of gun safety, you're in a sure position to keep yourself safe, save lives. Storing weapons safely and gun safety is the first thing mentioned in every gun owner's manual for every firearm manufactured in the United States of America. Not only is it a law, it's good sense. So without getting into any debate over the Bill of Rights, Second Amendment, we're focusing on the one issue on all sides of the issue that is so important, and that is gun safety. With that in mind, we're going to focus on two weapons today. These are both loaded. Don't be nervous. These are semi-automatic weapons. Okay, we have here the Ruger SR-22. It's a 22 caliber semi-automatic. We have here a Glock 43. That is a 9mm semi-automatic. If you're not at all familiar with guns and you're finding a loaded weapon somewhere around the house in the reach of children, or someone who's just come out of surgery, someone who's not feeling well, someone who's depressed and you're concerned about their safety, it's a good idea to unload that weapon properly and load yourself with the knowledge of how to store this weapon safely. With that in mind, let's start out with the Ruger SR-22. Now, what I mean when I say a semi-automatic, you can see that the body of the gun doesn't bulge out like it would in an old Western movie. Those are all revolvers, meaning the barrel comes out, usually 6 rounds. Semi-automatic means it has a magazine and a chambered round generally. We don't know if it has a chambered round, so we're going to review the laws of gun safety. And again, these are always in the very front of every gun owner's manual, but assuming that you found a weapon, you don't know where it came from, it's separated from the owner's manual, you don't know anything about it, you can't read serial numbers on it, you can just identify the type that it is, and you see this type of gun is a semi-automatic, so I'll teach you how to unload that, and then you'll be more comfortable with the rules of gun safety. First rule of gun safety, always point the gun in a safe direction. The gun is laid on the counter, it's away from my person. Second law of gun safety, always treat a weapon as though it is loaded. So never assume that a weapon is not loaded, even if it doesn't have the magazine in it. There could be a chambered round. I'll get into that later. Third law of gun safety, never put your finger in the trigger guard unless you've made a conscious decision to fire. Since we are not discussing marksmanship, I'm going to reiterate that you never put your finger in that trigger guard. Even when it's unloaded, I'm not wild about dry firing. So since we're just focusing on unloading and storing weapons safely, remember, always assume that the gun is loaded, always point it in a safe direction, never place your finger inside the trigger guard. The fourth law of gun safety would be always to be aware of your target and what is beyond it. Again, since we're not focused on marksmanship, we're not talking about targets, but specifically that is so important because even in some unincorporated areas such as counties, we may see instances where people are cavalier about shooting on their own property, neglecting there could be a wandering child on an easement road, a neighbor's dog on an easement road. Any number of situations would necessitate that we always be aware of what is beyond our target.